Hello everyone, I'm Abhishek HR, working as an assistant professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering, MIT Mysore. I welcome you all to the design laboratory session. The subject code given by the video for the subject is 70MEL76 and credits is 2. Exam pattern is similar as that of your other subjects, 40 for internal marks and 60 for external marks. This is the syllabus that you are going to study in this design laboratory. In part A, there are 5 experiments, and in part B, there are 5 experiments. Before going to tell anything about the syllabus, I'll just tell you the importance of the design laboratory in the 7th semester. See, you are all already studied about the design subjects like dynamics of machinery, design 1, design 2, mechanics of materials, kinematics of machines. So in that you have studied the theoretical aspect and also have solved some numerical problems. But here you are going to conduct the experiments based on that theoretical concepts. Okay, let us see the syllabus under part A. The very first one is longitudinal and torsional vectors. In the design subjects, one of the design subject that will be in the 5th semester, dynamics of machinery. There we have studied the vibration concepts. What is vibration, types of vibration, and also have solved some numerical problems. Based on that, you have the experiments on longitudinal and torsional vibration. In torsional vibration, there are two conditions. One is damped system and one more is undamped system. So for under torsional vibration, you are going to conduct the two experiments. Next one is whirling of shaft. See here, you are going to find the critical speed of a shaft that we have in our laboratory. And third one is balancing of rotating masses. See, this one is also have learned in the 5th semester subject, that is in the dynamics of machinery. You have solved some numerical problems on balancing of rotating masses as well as balancing of reciprocating masses. Under balancing of rotating masses, there are 4 conditions. So based on that 4 condition, you are going to solve the problem in the design laboratory. And the beauty of this experiment is, before going to conduct the experiment, first we should solve the problem, then we have to conduct the experiment. Next one is polariscope. See, polariscope, it is used to determine the internal stresses of a photoelastic material. So here we are going to use this setup to find the internal stresses of a photoelastic material. So that is, we have 2 tests, that is compression test and bending test. And one more in the polariscope only, plate with the hole. So these are the syllabus under part B. Let us know about the part B. So under part B, the first one is governors. I think you all are very much know about the working of governors. In the DOM subject only, there are 2 types of governors, Porter governor and Hartnell governor. But here in the design lab, you are going to conduct the experiment on Porter governor. In Porter governor, you are going to find the frictional resistance, governor power, governor effort, as well as you are going to plot a graph of the controlling force. Then you have journal bearing. I think in the design 1 and design 2, you might have learned about the shafts and journals and all. So here you are going to conduct the experiment on the journal bearing to determine the pressure distribution. Next, we have a strain process. Here you are going to use the digital machine to, digital device to find the strains using the strain process. One is for cantilever beam and one more is for the curved beam. Then we have gyroscope. Gyroscope is not for the conduction of the experiment, it is only for the demonstration. We are going to explain orally how the gyroscope is going to work. So these are the overall syllabus of the design laboratory. Dear students, actually this is a practical session that we need to conduct in lab only. But since COVID-19 it is not possible, I am just explaining through the online. Now, by learning all these syllabus or all these concepts, what is the outcome of this lab, design lab? Let us know the outcome of the design lab. So there are 4 outcomes from the design laboratory. First one is apply the various principles of design and procedurally adopt to demonstrate the experiment for given problem under state. See, apply the various principles of design and procedurally adopt to demonstrate. I already told that we have learned the theory concepts in the design subjects. So based on that design concepts, here you are going to apply that theoretical concepts to conduct the experiment. Second one, determine the required parameter using suitable formulas based on the tabulated readings, which means after conducting the experiment, you will get some values, you will get some readings. So based on that, you are going to calculate the required parameter, what you want from that experiment, that you are going to calculate using the tabulated readings. Then analyze the key inputs and outcomes of experiment on the given problem scenario, infer the correctness of the selected parameters based on the efficacy of solution. See, when you are going to learn about the design and when you are going to solve some design problems, always you should analyze what is the input and what you have got the output from that input. So you need to analyze of the input as well as the output, and you need to conclude something regarding that problem. Then CO4, write a report to show the details of experiment calculation and its results. See, whatever we do, we should always make a document. So after completion of one experiment, you should write the aim of the experiment, apparatus required, procedure, calculation, tabulated readings, and if any, figure. So you should maintain it in a record. So these are the all 4 outcomes that we will get from the design laboratory. First, we are going to apply the design concept to conduct experiment. Then we will get some readings and we are going to use the standard formula to get the answer. Then we are going to analyze the things, what is the result, whether it is correct or wrong. Then we are going to make a document. So these are the outcomes from the design laboratory. Hello everyone, welcome back to the design laboratory session. In the previous session, I explained about the syllabus and course overview of the design laboratory. In today's session, we are going to see the Porter Governor experiment. This is the actual setup of the Porter Governor. Before we conduct this Porter Governor, let us recall about the governor concept. Governor is nothing but it's a mechanical device which is used to regulate the mean speed of an engine used based on the load variations. So here also we are going to conduct the same thing on the Porter Governor. The aim of the experiment of this Porter Governor is to determine the frictional resistance, governor power, governor effort, and also we are going to plot the controlling force curve in your graph sheet. And the apparatus required for this experiment is the actual setup of the Porter Governor and the tachometer. With the help of this tachometer, we can measure the speed in RPM. This is the Porter Governor setup. These are the upper links and these are the lower links, and this is the dead weight load. And this is the spindle axis, the central axis. And here it is the speed controlling knob, because here I can't show the load conditions. So based on the speed variation, I can show the sleeve movement on the Porter Governor. And this is the main switch to switch on and switch off the Porter Governor setup. And now it is in the half mode. Now it will be in the on mode. So I have connected this to the electrical power source. Now let us conduct this experiment. See, always you should raise the speed, gradually increase the speed to conduct this. Don't increase the speed once at a time. You should increase gradually. See, as per the governor concept, when the load increases, speed is going to decrease. So, thereby, with the help of throttle valve, it increases the pathway of the fluid supply. And when load decreases, speed increases. So by the sleeve movement, it will, with the help of throttle valve, it decreases the pathway of the supply of fluid. So here I'm just increase the speed. See, as the speed goes on increasing, the flying balls or the rotating ball will fly outward from the spindle axis. See, as the speed increases, the rotation of the ball is going to increase and it fly outwards from the spindle axis. See, you can see here there are some rings here. So that is the we'll consider it as a sleeve movement. Suppose if the arms are lift or fall down, if it crosses one ring, we'll assume it as a 0.05 meter, and if it crosses one more ring means we'll count that also 0.05 meter. See, this is the highest speed that we can do it in the Porter Governor. Now you can clearly see how the rotating balls are flying outward from the spindle axis. Suppose if I reduces the speed, obviously the slave move in the downward direction. This is the actual operating procedure of the Porter Governor. Now I will tell you what are the readings that have to be taken from this Porter Governor. See, after increasing the speed, when it crosses one ring, so means when it will be in the stable condition after crossing the one ring, you should measure the speed at this time. This is a tachometer, this is a device which is used to measure the speed in RPM. So I'll just show you how to measure the speed. We are measuring the speed at this position. See, look at the tachometer here. I think it is showing some around 345 RPM, I think. So like this, we need to measure the speed at this position. So after this, just raise the speed. Don't raise the speed once at a time. Gradually you need to increase. Now wait for a second. It should be in a stable condition. Then you can measure the speed. See, now it is, I think, 386 RPM. So like this, you need to measure the speed based on the sleeve movement. So these are the standard set of formulas which we are going to use to find the governor frictional resistance, governor power, governor effects and all. The very first one is angular velocity of the spindle, that is omega is equal to 2 pi n by 60, n is the speed. Then second one, distance, that is c is equal to h by 2 minus x by 2, that should be in the meter. Then s, that is equal to square root of L square minus C square, that is also should be in the meter. For this L, you have the observation reading in the Porter Governor itself, and C, here you are going to calculate the C value. Then you are going to find out the angle theta, that is sine inverse is equal to C by L. You already got the value of C and L, so thereby you can find out the angle. Then radius of rotation, R is equal to 0.05 plus S. Here you are going to find the S here, so you can use that S value here to find the radius of rotation. That should be in the meter. Then height of governor, that is R into tan theta in meter. Theta value, that is the angle that you have got in the fourth step itself, so that you can find out the height here. Then frictional force, F is equal to m square m into g into h whole thing divided by 895 minus m plus m. So this is the small m is the mass of the ball and capital M is the mass of the sleeve. That should be, whole answer should be in a user. Then centrifugal force, F is equal to m into omega square into r. This is the common standard formula. M is the mass of the ball, omega angular speed, r is the radius of rotation. Then effort, E is equal to 0.01 into small m plus capital M, weight of the ball and weight of the mass of the sleeve, into G, gravity, plus frictional force, that should be in a Newton. Then power, P is equal to governor effort into sleeve length. Governor effort that we already calculated in the nine step itself, have the sleeve length value also. So thereby I can calculate the governor power. This. So with the help of the standard formulas and the taken readings, we can calculate the further required parameter like the distance, angle, radius of rotation, height, frictional force. As per the aim of the Porter governor, we can calculate the frictional force and the centrifugal force, governor effort, finally governor power. So those formulas are very important, and the readings also. So from this, we can plot a graph over here. One is speed versus sleeve lift, and one more is radius of rotation versus centrifugal force. See, in this graph, as the speed increases, sleeve lift is also increases, and here also the radius of rotation, as the radius increases, as the fly outward from the axis of the governor, so the centrifugal is also increases. So that is what the output of this graph. So from the readings we can plot the